How to treat chronic insomnia naturally without medication. In today's video, we specifically and only going to be focusing on chronic insomnia, which is long-term insomnia. This is not about a one-off, perhaps not so good quality sleep. This is about actually when you have really not had good quality sleep for many months, and we'll talk about what chronic insomnia is as well. But before we actually jump into the main content, I just wanted to say welcome to my video, whether or not you're new here or returning. I really love the fact that you are here and watching this video, really looking at how you can actually overcome your sleep problem. So if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you hit that button and hit that little bell as well, so I can let you know when I post new videos. That's 2 times a week. And those of you who haven't actually come across any of my content before, then let me introduce myself. So my name is Beatrix Schmidt. I'm a sleep coach and I focus on specifically helping clients overcome insomnia and other long-term sleep problems. And I'm also the creator of the Sleep Skills for Life program, which is very much a practical program taking you from sleep problems, insomnia, all the way to creating great quality sleep practically. So this is not a scientific program. This is actually literally helping you to make sure that the practical plan you put in place actually is going to create the results that you want, which is great quality sleep and overcoming your challenges. So if you're interested in that, the link is below. Now that we covered that, let's actually talk about how to treat chronic insomnia so that you can actually really properly overcome it. One of the first things I would like to say is please don't self-diagnose. It's really important to seek appropriate help. Meaning if it has been going on for a long time and you've tried a bunch of different things and nothing seems to have worked, it's really important to actually really look at a practical plan, which will take you through a structured and strategic plan to get to the end result, rather than just maybe a few tips and advice and even sort of a few videos here and there, but that structured program is missing. So when I actually meet a new client and I really look at where they are at, which is the beginning of building that plan, is the first step is really just to figure out how long the problem has been going on and what are those dynamics that are happening within that long-term chronic insomnia scenario. And this is a good time to actually talk about what chronic insomnia is, so we can make sure that we're not really mixing and matching different types of advice for perhaps something that isn't really relevant in your situation. So chronic insomnia is either you're not being able to fall asleep within generally up to half an hour, but normally I aim for about 15 minutes with my clients. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're not able to fall back into sleep again. So you've got disturbed sleep at night. And that can be disturbed sleep, meaning you're up and awake for an hour at times. It can be that you're awake number of times and you're not able to fall back into sleep easily, or you're not able to sleep through the night properly. So there's a various combination there when it comes to chronic insomnia. And also when you wake up in the morning, you're not waking up refreshed. So obviously when the quality of sleep isn't great and sufficient enough, you are going to have that tiredness or even exhaustion in the morning. And this must happen frequently enough. That's why it's not a one-off. Chronic insomnia is basically all these problems that I mentioned, which happen at least 3 out of 7 nights. And why is that? The reason that's the case is often when you had 3 not really great quality sleep in a row, you tend to be really tired and often even maybe exhausted, which means that the 4th night or maybe the 5th night is slightly better, but there is no consistency, so that consistency is missing. And often when I come across clients who struggle with chronic insomnia, they don't actually know how to make good quality sleep happen. So your entire life is now sort of designed around your sleep struggles. And chronic insomnia has to be there for minimum of 3 months, which what makes it chronic or long term, rather than a one-off short term and you naturally go back into a good sort of sleep pattern soon enough. So that's what chronic insomnia really is. And just to put it into perspective, my clients that I worked with have had sleep problems that turned into sort of chronic insomnia that lasted for years. Some of my recent clients have struggled with insomnia for 10, 15, 25 years. Not something that is a 5-minute process to overcome. So that's the first part, is making sure you don't self-diagnose and making sure that actually the help you get and the treatment plan you get takes into account all the different things that are actually happening with you in your life and the dynamics of sleep. So the plan that I normally work on is, first of all, looking at what caused the insomnia, what caused the initial sleepless nights, the initial struggles. Insomnia often comes after something had happened and now you're not able to actually make good quality sleep happen. And then it rolls into a bigger problem in weeks' time and so on. So we've got to start with the root cause problems. Now, I have had many different clients, many different reasons why insomnia started. So again, it's really looking at where you're at and what had happened around that time. I have had clients who had lost a parent. I've had clients who have gone through even having to move to a different country. I have had clients who had a super stressful time in their life, and work-related things happened as well. And let's be honest about just the last 2 years of the world as well. You know, I've definitely seen an increase of problems through the pandemic as well. Because the honest truth is that every single area of our life has been impacted. That is going to cause some issues with sort of regulating our sleep as well. So the first step is really the root of the problem. When I look at the root of the problem, I look at the 7 areas of life. And there is a video that I've recorded previously in 2019 about this. So I'll link it here as well. That's how you build the plan, is you start with one step at a time. The second step is personality traits. Now, there are 16 different personality traits that I normally look at. Think of things like maybe potentially being more of an anxious type person, or perhaps maybe you're more of a go-getter. And so you're always on the go, your brain is always looking for the next thing. Those will be very different when it comes to insomnia and how you treat it. Then, when I establish what some of those personality traits are, I then look at which part of sleep that you struggle with the most. So I look at 4 different areas, and I started mentioning them earlier as well. The first one is your ability to be able to fall asleep. It is not a switch, it's a process. So how you prepare your body to be able to fall asleep is a practical plan. You can actually design a way to really make sure it happens, that how that I mentioned earlier as well. Normally I aim for about 15 minutes for clients, and that is completely achievable. I've seen it over and over again. The second part is nighttime disturbances, so sleep disturbances. This is in the middle of the night when you wake up and can't fall back into sleep for whatever reason that is. That often is a very different type of situation with insomnia than falling asleep. So appropriately, you've got to put the right tools and techniques in place for that particular part of, let's say, a sub-problem. And then the third one is your inability to be able to wake up naturally, both mentally and physically in the morning. So we've got to look at not just you getting out of bed because your alarm went off, but how natural is that waking up process? Are you having enough sleep? Is your body actually catering for creating sleep and creating enough energy as well? And then the fourth part is your ability to be able to maintain your energy levels for the entire day. And that means, of course, when you struggle with a chronic insomnia first, your energy levels will be low. And sometimes what I notice with clients is we've got to address that first, because at the end of the day, it can cause negative thoughts and often self-judgmental thoughts as well. So those are the areas I look at, and I don't look at everything straight away. You've got to take it step by step. You've got to look at what is the biggest problem, address that, and then move on to another part of sleep. And then when we've figured all of that out, and as you can imagine, it takes time. It's not a 5-second process. It's not a 5-minute process. It often takes, normally when I work with one-to clients, it can take up to 3 months. But that's really the work that you need to put in place so that you can actually really make sure that it lasts long. The outcome lasts long, which means you're not going to fall back into insomnia, chronic insomnia, again after a few weeks. And then the last piece of that puzzle is how you can maintain this. I have had clients who've had treatment for insomnia, which lasted a while, but then they actually started seeing that it started returning. So it didn't have the longevity that you really want. So you don't want to have to deal with it every couple of years, right? You want to make sure that it actually is sustainable change and you are actually really overcome the problem properly and for long term as well. So these are all the different things that I look at, and it is completely possible to overcome chronic insomnia. I've seen it many times before. Obviously, I've overcome my insomnia as well, which wasn't 10 years long, but it was long term as well. So I understand what that means. So that means you can overcome it as well. I know that this is a short video on this. Like I said, within the program that I actually work with clients, it takes a longer process. It takes a structured program to really actually overcome it. So come and ask me a question in the comments. I'm very happy to address anything that you might want me to address when it comes to chronic insomnia. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Make sure, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, come into the comments and let me know what you are going to do about it, if you've got any questions, and which part of this was the most helpful. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video later on this week, which will be about a Q&A on this same topic, which is all about chronic insomnia and how to treat it and overcome it naturally. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.